At once, at once, at once, like lightning. And Lebedev quickly vanished from the room. The prince looked in surprise at the young girl, at the boy, at the one lying on the sofa. They were all laughing. The prince laughed, too. He went to put on his tailcoat, said the boy. This is all so vexing, the prince began, and I'd have thought, tell me, is he drunk, you think? Cried the voice from the sofa. Stone sober. Maybe 3 or 4 glasses, well, or make it 5, but that's just for discipline. The prince was about to address the voice from the sofa, but the young girl began to speak and, with a most candid look on her pretty face, said, he never drinks much in the mornings. If you've come on business, talk to him now. It's the right time. When he comes home in the evening, he's drunk, and now he mostly weeps at night and reads aloud to us from the Holy Scriptures, because our mother died 5 weeks ago. He ran away because he probably had a hard time answering you. The young man laughed from the sofa. I'll bet he's about to dupe you and is thinking it over right now. Just 5 weeks. Just 5 weeks. Lebedev picked up, coming back in wearing his tailcoat, blinking his eyes and pulling a handkerchief from his pocket to wipe his tears. Orphans. Why have you come out all in holes? Said the young girl. You've got a brand new frock coat lying there behind the door, didn't you see it? Quiet, you fidget. Lebedev shouted at her. Ah, you. He began to stamp his feet at her. But this time she only laughed. Don't try to frighten me, I'm not Tanya, I won't run away. But you may wake up Lubochka, and she'll get into a fit. What's all this shouting? No, no, no. Bite your tongue. Lebedev suddenly became terribly frightened and, rushing to the baby asleep in his daughter's arms, with a frightened look made a cross over it several times. Lord save us, Lord protect us. This is my own nursing baby, my daughter Lubov. He turned to the prince, born in the most lawful wedlock of the newly departed Elena, my wife, who died in childbed. And this wee thing is my daughter Vera, in mourning, and this, oh, this. Why do you stop short? Cried the young man. Go on, don't be embarrassed. Your Highness, Lebedev suddenly exclaimed in a sort of transport, have you been following the murder of the Zemarin family 7 in the newspapers? I have, the prince said in some surprise. Well, this is the true murderer of the Zemarin family, the man himself. What do you mean? Said the prince. That is, allegorically speaking, the future second murderer of the future second Zemarin family, if one turns up. He's headed for that. Everybody laughed. It occurred to the prince that Lebedev might indeed be squirming and clowning only because, anticipating his questions, he did not know how to answer them and was gaining time. He's a rebel. A conspirator. Lebedev shouted, as if no longer able to control himself. Well, and do I have the right to regard such a slanderer, such a harlot, one might say, and monster, as my own nephew, the only son of my late sister Anasia? Oh, stop it, you drunkard. Would you believe, Prince, he's now decided to become a lawyer, to plead in the courts, he waxes eloquent and talks in high-flown style with his children at home. "5 days ago he spoke before the justices of the peace. And who do you think he defended? Not the old woman who implored, who begged him, because she'd been fleeced by a scoundrel of a money-lender who took 500 rubles from her, everything she had, but the money-lender himself, some idler or other, a yid, because he promised him 50 rubles for it. "50 rubles if I win and only 5 if I lose," Lebedev suddenly explained in a completely different voice than before, as if he had never been shouting. Well, it was a washout, of course, the old rules have been changed, they only laughed at him there. But he remained terribly pleased with himself. "Remember," he said, "impartial gentlemen of the court, that an old man of sorrows, a cripple, who lives by honest labor, is being deprived of his last crust of bread. Remember the wise words of the lawgiver." Let mercy reign in the courts. And believe me, every morning he repeats this speech for us here, exactly as he said it there. This is the 5th day, he was reciting it just before you came, he likes it so much. He drools over himself. And he's getting ready to defend somebody else. You're Prince Mishkin, I believe? Kolya told me about you. He says he's never met anyone in the world more intelligent than you. And there is no one. No one. No one more intelligent in the world. Lebedev picked up at once. Well, I suppose this one's just babbling. The one loves you, and the other fawns on you, but I have no intention of flattering you, let that be known to you. You must have some sense, so decide between him and me. Well, do you want the prince to decide between us? He said to his uncle. I'm even glad you've turned up, Prince. Let him. Lebedev cried resolutely, looking around involuntarily at his audience, which had again begun to advance upon him. What's going on with you here? The prince said, making a wry face.